In this video, we are going to talk about the basics of data structures. So hey everyone, Mayank this side, and let's begin this session by first understanding the meaning of data structure. Well, the name itself suggests that it is a structuring of data. So let me take an example over here to make you guys understand about this concept in a more efficient way. Suppose you have an array with some values inside it. So I have an array over here, and this array is going to have some random values, and you guys know this is how the array works. Array is a set of elements that are of same data type, and over here I'm going to have the integer data type values, and these values are going to be, let's say, 2 3 1 7, and at the end I have 9. Okay, so we have some values, and in order to access these values, whether it's a list or an array, I know the concept of indexing. And the way I'm going to index these values are going to be like 0 1 2, and then I'm going to pass 3 and 4. So if I want to access the 9, the index value of 9 is going to be 4, and in order to access the 3, I'm going to have the index value as 1. In order to access 1, I have the index value 2, and in order to access 2, I have the index value 0. So the indexing is going to be equals to the last index value is going to be equals to the length minus 1. Okay, so this is how I'm going to use the concept of indexing inside the array. But there is one more way, that is the negative indexing, where I'm going to pass minus 1 to the last element, and then I'm going to decrement the value after every iteration. Okay, so now I'm going to just pass minus 4, and at the end I'm going to have minus 5. So the main agenda behind this thing is that I want to explain you guys about the concept of searching. So here, if I want to search an element, let's say if the user says search for the 7, whether this 7 is present inside this list or not. So when you see from your eyes, you can clearly see that 7 is present at the index value 3 and minus 2. But if you want this thing to be done with your computer, you want to give your computer a set of instructions so that it can check with that instruction that this value is present inside this list or not, so or this array or not. Okay, so let me create a program over here to make you guys understand with this thing. So this program is the basic program in order to check whether a value is present inside the list or not. So let me take a list over here, and this list is going to have some values, let's say 2 4 5 or 6, and then I have 9 and then 10. So now I can access these values in order to do some operations, but over here I want to check whether a particular value given by the user is present inside my list or not. And how I'm going to do so, I'm first going to ask the user to give me the value, and the way I'm going to do is by storing a value inside the z variable, and the way I'm going to store the value is with the help of our input function. And you guys know that the input function is going to be get the value in the format of a string, and to convert this string into integer format, we have to typecast the input inside the integer, and you have to just wrap up the input inside int like this, and then inside int or the input you can pass the thing what you want from the user. So I just want to tell the user to pass a value, so I'm just going to write pass a value, and after doing so I'm going to just say that I got the value, and I know that I got the value. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check whether this value z is present inside my list or not. So for that I'm going to use a for loop for I in range, and then I'm going to just pass the range as length of list. And why I'm taking the range as length of list, and the reason is very simple. I want to traverse through each and every element of this list, and you guys don't know, but let me just show you guys a very quick thing over here, that you can easily write if I in list print we got that. And this is one way to do so. Okay, one way to check whether an element is present. So let me just pass 10, and if I pass 10, it is going to give me an error, and this error is because if I list, okay, I have not declared I have to use z over here because I'm passing the values inside z. So if I'm passing 19 over here, it's going to do nothing because 19 is not present. But if I pass 10, this program should print the we got the value. Okay, so we got that. And this is the one way you are going to check for the values that is present in list or not. But we are not going to use this thing in C or in any other programming language. So what we are going to do in any other programming language, we are going to use the standard for loop and for I in range. And this is the way you are going to do. You're going to use the concept of range, where you're going to pass the length, and inside the length you have to write list. So now this is going to take the length of the list. So in my case it is equals to the 5. So the range is going to be equals to the 5. Okay, so I is going to start from 0 till 4. Okay, so range minus 1 is the number of time the program is going to iterate. Okay, this loop is going to iterate. Okay, so now I have to check whether this z is equals to the list or not. So I'm just going to pass if z is equals to list, and I'm going to give the index as I, because every time the I is going to increment and I'm going to get a new value. So initially the value of I is going to be equals to 0. So when it is going to be equals to 0, the value is equals to 2. When it's going to be 1, the value is going to be 4, and it's going to be let's say 5, the value is going to be 10. Okay, so that's what I want. I want to check for each and every value whether the value is equals to z or not, and in some point I will be getting the value equals to z, and in that case I'm just going to print that we got the value. And this is the way you are going to do so. And if the value is not present after just iterating throughout the list, we are going to print that value not found. Okay, so as soon as I just write this thing, value not found, let me just run this code over here and let me just pass the value as 10. And you guys know that 10 is present inside this list, but I'm getting 10 for, I guess, the one time only. But for the other 4 time, I'm getting value not found, because every time it is going to check for this if statement, and if it is not true, it's going to do, it is going to pass to this else statement, and I don't want this. Okay, so I just want to pass this else outside the for loop, and over here it is going to be for else loop, and you guys know how to use this loop. Okay, so as soon as we got the value, after we got the value, I just want to break this for loop. Okay, so now I'm ready with this code, and as soon as I run this code, I will be getting past the value. Suppose I pass 19, so, or 29, so we know that 29 is not present inside this list, so I got the value not found. But what if I pass 10? So in the case of 10, I will be getting, we got the value, and you can see that. But what if I pass 2? If I pass 2, we get no value. But the difference between the 2 and 10 is that when you just give the value 2, it is going to take less time to execute this program then when you give the value as 10. And the reason is very simple, because when you give the value as 10, your program is going to take more time in searching for the value 10, that is at the last index value, than when you give the value as 2. Because when you give the value as 2, it is going to be the first index value. Let me just show you this thing over here. So let me just take this example over here with this array, and you can see that 9 is a number. So if you search for the 9, it is going to first pass to this 2, and it is going to check whether this 2 is equals to 9 or not, and then it is going to pass to this 3, then 1, then 7, and at the end I'm going to get this 9, and I can say that yes, 9 is present inside this list. But for that, I have to check for each and every value inside this array. And that's where the concept of data structure comes into the picture, because that's what data structure is. You need to store the data in the way that you can use that data efficiently. Over here, you can see the priority of 2 is more than the priority of 9, because I can easily access 2 in the less amount of time than the 9 or the 7 or the 1 or the 3. And that's what the data structure is, where you understand, where you try to code in the way so that you can access the values. And the next thing is that we don't use data structure for the single variable, because you guys know that I have a variable as z, and z is equals to 10. So in order to access this 10, I can use z. Okay, so that is the way I'm going to use that, and I don't have to worry about where this 10 is stored. How can I use this 10? Because the access method of 10 is very simple. You have to just use the name of the variable, that is z in my case. Okay, so we have to worry about list and arrays, or I can say the collection of elements where you have multiple elements stored, and that's where the concept of data structure is going to be used. Okay, so in this session we talked about the basic stuff related to data structures, and we saw what is going to be the time requirements, how the same code is going to take more time to run for the 10 and less time to run for the 2. Okay, so all these things are very important to set the building blocks related to data structure. And in next video, we are going to talk about the advanced things like time complexity and space complexity in order to build up the fundamentals of data structure. So thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye.